coming from a place of I attract everything because I need nothing.
And it is so infectious. If you're coming from that state of bringing energy, or someone has that energy, it's infectious. It lifts people up in the room.
Yep, and it's addictive. People want to be around that. That's what magnifies people to your business.
Welcome to Marketing with Vino, the edutainment business growth podcast, mixing education and entertainment to make growing your service business much more fun. Your hosts, Quinton Venter, online marketing expert, and Gabby Kowalski, creator of the Business Freedom Formula, have a glass of wine and share powerful and up-to-date strategies to help grow your service business fast.
Welcome to another amazing episode with Marketing with Vino, the big official episode number 20. And with us, we have the amazing Gabs joining us from Melbourne. How are you, Gabs?
Hey, Quinton. Absolutely awesome today. Super pumped to be chatting with you, and the topic that we're sharing with you guys today is pretty awesome. We're quite excited, and we're just sharing that we're 20. This is episode 20. We're all grown up now. We're not teenagers anymore.
Yeah, we're out of our teens. Wow, we've made it.
We've made it. Yeah. We've made it to the fun 20s. So I imagine the next 10 episodes are going to be super fun.
Well, we're almost at a stage where 21 would be legal in the States to start drinking. We've already started way before that.
We so did. Oops.
And more importantly, I'm actually joining you this week with a glass of wine from not joining you for so long. And I'm enjoying a glass of Taylor's, a Shiraz. And what are you sipping on?
First up, it's lovely to have you back in the game. So, listening to this, if you missed the last couple of episodes, Quinton was in Europe, and when we recorded a couple of episodes, it'd be 10 in the morning for him and like 8 p.m. for me. So it was totally okay and kosher for me to drink. And he tells me, Gabs, I'm just not doing it. I'm not drinking at 10 in the morning. You can't make me. So I had to man the fort myself. So welcome back. And I am drinking a beautiful Sauv Blanc from Matua. From New Zealand. So all the way from New Zealand to Melbourne. International grapes.
Love it. Well, today, just from the start of the topic, from celebrating the big 20, it's something to be extremely grateful of. And you know what? Every time that we record an episode, it is reflecting back, and it's just like, holy crap, we are making a difference in the world. We've got an amazing club going on. Anyone that's listening that hasn't joined the club right now, this is a shameless call to action right here. Go to marketingwithvino.com, click on the button where it says join the club and be part of the conversation, because it's doing this show, starting with an idea and being able to do this now for 20 episodes and having created an amazing community where people are engaging, they're asking questions, and we get to help people out. Please join us. It's amazing. And gratitude, like being able to vibrate on that level, which is bringing us into our conversation, that Gabby has an exceptional amount of experience around personal stories as well.
And so does Quinton.
And so I guess all of us does. We all do. It's just, what does it mean? Why is it important? What do we get out of it? And so Gabby is going to share a few strategies, and I'm going to share a few personal stories as well. But it comes down, I think it was 3 universal laws.
Yeah, so what we want to share with you today is this, that, if you've ever heard someone tell you, take massive action, that's all good and great, provided you're taking action from the right frequency, meaning you're taking action from the right state of being. So there's 12 laws there's 12 universal laws, and I'm going to really just focus in on 3 today. Yeah. The law of attraction, the law of vibration, and the law of action. So these 3 laws will have you create the business that you want, or they're constantly working. So you're either creating what you want or more of what you don't want. And so this is the thing, right? That ultimately, when you have a look at how stuff gets created and manifested into the physical world, the truth of the matter is that the law of attraction states that you will attract more to you of that you are. The law of vibration states that whatever you're vibrating at is the frequency that you're attracting. And so if you're vibrating at a frequency of scarcity, of I'm having a shit time, of this is too hard, of, pain, and there's pain and doom and gloom, law of attraction is it's not bias. It's literally not bias. It's not, it's what's the word? It's not, on the side of good or evil, so to speak.
It doesn't discriminate.
It doesn't discriminate. It's not racist. It'll give you more of what you're vibrating. And when you look at the law of action actually amplifies your vibration. Meaning, if you're vibrating in a frequency, if the way you're thinking and feeling is in a state of gratitude, appreciation, joy, excitement, passion, the law of action, when you take action, it actually amplifies the state itself and will bring you more even faster. Meaning that, if you've ever heard any information about law of attraction before, where, it's sit there and see yourself driving your Porsche and, and see yourself,
The secret, yes.
That's right, the secret. There's a couple of things missing in The Secret. One of them is the law of vibration, and the other one is the law of action. So The Secret really heavily spoke about the law of attraction. However, the truth of the matter is, if you just sit there, on your beanbag, contemplating your navel, and if you just sit there and all you do is visualize your business looking a certain way, but you don't take any action, you don't actually bring that into the physical plane. So the action's like the bridge to bringing everything into the physical world.
Yeah.
Now, when you are tapping into a wicked frequency and, you're pumped, you're excited, you can see it, smell it, taste it, meaning that what you see in your head feels as real as reality, which means that you are just as happy sitting there envisioning your business the way you want to see it. Seeing the clients, the time freedom, the money freedom, the fulfillment, the making the difference that you want to make. And you feel as excited about that as if it was really happening for real. Then you're in the vibrational frequency. You've tuned in, so to speak, to the vibration to attract it. Then when you take action, it amplifies that, where you meet the right person at the right time. You get referrals. You get this idea for a marketing campaign, and it just rocks. Where you send something out there and it works really well, and everything. This is the state of flow.
Yeah.
This is where things are flowing into you. Ultimately, though, the action component amplifies whatever you're vibrating. So this is the problem, that if you're vibrating in a state of lack, doom and gloom, oh shit, when you take massive action, you actually amplify the attraction of more of that crap. So taking massive action when you're in a shit state is the last thing you want to do, because because you're amplifying, that you don't want. And I've got a personal sort of insight to share with this, because I was saying this to Quinton just before we hit record. There's really only 3 areas in life that, the 3 umbrellas that everything kind of falls into. One umbrella is love, one umbrella is money, and one umbrella is health. Now, so obviously under the money umbrella is business, yeah? Under the love umbrella, we've got, connection, we've got relationships, yeah? And then you've got health. And, obviously under health, you've got your own physical health, you've got mental health, you've got emotional health, all of that kind of stuff going on. Now, this is the thing, that each one of these has a frequency. And so for me personally, what I've found is quite often you will look around the world and you'll see people that just rock at their body. Like they've got killer bodies, they look shit hot, they look awesome, however, their business sucks. Or you see someone in an amazing relationship, but they're overweight and malnutrition. They're not doing so well physically. They often, when it comes to actually nailing all 3, this is the quest of the human being. It's definitely the quest of the entrepreneur, the business owner. Our motto is, I can have it all.
Yeah.
Now, that all 3 of these have their own frequency. So, for example, if you were to, depending on where you are in the world, this will only make sense if you're here, that there's a radio station called 101.1. And it plays predominantly love songs. There's now
love song dedication. Yes.
That's right. Now, if you want to listen to 101.1 love songs, but you tune into a completely different station, 107 point, I don't even, God, I don't know.
96.1, yeah.
There we go, 96.1. And so here you are, you're tuning into 96.1, and you're like, where's my love songs? And there's like AC/DC rocking out. And you're like, what's going on? I'll just make it louder. Maybe that will help it. It won't. I can tell you right now. I'll turn the radio off and on. That still won't help it. You need to tune in to the right station in order to hear the music. And same with all of this stuff. If you want more money, you want to tune into more money. If you want more love, you want to tune into more love. And if you want more health, you want to tune into more health. Now, for me personally, when it comes to love and when it comes to money, I've got those two areas of the three pretty nailed. I've got amazing human beings in my world. I've got so much love, it's insane. And when it comes to money, I've got a brilliant relationship with it. So even if I have a bad month or two in business, it doesn't get me down. Like, honestly, I can look at nothing in my bank account and it doesn't scratch the surface. And money fills up so quickly, it's not funny. Meaning I invest, I do stuff. It's just, for me, I don't have that freak out approach that other people do. So a lot of people are reactive to money.
Yeah.
Meaning that if I've got it, then if they've got it, they feel good. If they don't have it, they freak out. It's and it's actually not the vibration. You don't like to vibrate at a frequency of financial success. You want to tap into the fact that abundance is all there is. You're sweet and you're good, and it's a state of just expecting. It's an expecting state of, money always comes, it loves me, I'm a magnet to it, with absolute certainty, right? So for me personally, when it came to health, my health vibration on my health radio station, let's just say it was a little bit, the radio was a little bit shonky. So there'd be times where I'd be like, if I focused on it, so put it this way, it was reactive, meaning that if I looked in the mirror and I was a certain weight, then that would transcend to me as I'm healthy and I'd feel good about my body and be inspired to eat better and exercise. Whereas if I looked in the mirror and I saw that I put on a few kilos, instantly it would have me freak out and not be in the vibration of health and start to attract more unhealth. And so recently I'm sitting there because I'm doing all this cool stuff to just have it be that I look after my body, and I've hired this really awesome kinesiologist, and he's a peak performance expert, and he's doing all this cool stuff and got me taking certain supplements and doing all sorts of things to rebuild certain things in my body and just get me rocking out. And so I'm doing all this right? And I'm going to bed early because he tells me you've got to be in bed by 9:30, 10 to have your... So here I am, I'm going to bed early and I'm taking these supplements and I'm eating these...
wine.
Yeah, drinking this wine. Well, that's probably not right. But apart from the wine. And this is the funny part. So I'm going I'm doing all this stuff, why don't I feel any better? And I put on a couple of kilos. And I'm going, I don't get it. Why am I, I don't get, why am I putting on weight? And so then I'm reacting. I'm going, this is shit, this is shit, this is unfair. Totally not the vibration of health, by the way.
Yeah.
And ultimately I'm sitting there and I'm like, it's like that aha moment. I get this aha moment where I'm like, hold on a minute. You're taking action right now. What's your vibration around health? Because right now you're taking massive action and you seem to be you're doing worse than before you took all this massive action. What's the vibration? And I'm like, what's the story? I said to myself, what's the story you're telling yourself around health right now? And truth to be told, I had an honest little chat with myself, and what came back was, I'm like, oh my God, listen to me. My story is I'm unwell. I'm broken. I need to do all this stuff to fix me. This sucks.
Yeah.
This, I can't do this. I can't do that. And there was this negative story. And of course, if I'm in that state, I'm not going to attract, coolness. Ironically, just before I had this insight, I had this condition occur. This was literally just a couple of days ago. Where the covering around my eyes was kind of weak, and I got a crack in my eye. I can't tell you how freaking painful that is. And I couldn't see. So my eyes are all puffy and they're, I can't open them. And I've got my best friend sort of walking me around. She's my guide dog and doing stuff for me. And so I'm lying there in bed for a few days without the ability to see. And I'm thinking to myself, oh God, it landed, I'm like, I finally get what the vibration of health is. It's actually appreciating and valuing what you already have that's healthy, not focusing on what's not working. It's focusing on what is working, because lying there, I'm a visual person, meaning visual modality is one of my favorite modalities. You know, so to take away my eyesight, my goodness, like it's the worst thing ever. And I'm lying there, and I'm thinking, you know what? Like, have a look at where you're already healthy. Yes, you may not have your eyesight for now, but you know it will come back. I'm like, I can walk, and I can, my mind works, and I can use my hands. Like all my body works and functions perfectly. I can talk. You know, the truth of the matter is, I can use all my senses, bar sight right now, but that's going to come back.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there, I'm going, I can't believe just a couple of days ago, I looked in the mirror, I noticed I'd put on a couple of kilos and made such a big deal about it when I could see. Like right now, I would happily swap even 10 kilos for my sight again.
Yeah.
The perspective, and I'm sitting there going, God, the vibration of health is actually being appreciative for the current health you already have. You know, that's it. It's actually like be present to the cool shit you already have around health, then take action from that place. And honestly, like in the past, I was saying to Quinton, this condition, this little thing that happened to me, I'd end up in hospital. They'd have to like do this operation where they scraped my little eyeball.
Sounds painful.
Freaking soap, I cannot tell you. Like, I haven't given birth, but I reckon it's up there. And this time, I didn't have to go to hospital. I healed by itself. I'm sitting here, I can see, it's freaking awesome. Got my sight again. And this is where I sort of went, wow, it's actually the same for all three areas. When it comes to money, the vibration of money is being grateful, appreciative for the current wealth you already have. Meaning, but it's not like BS, oh yeah, thank you, I've got a fridge, I've got a table, I've got a bed, woohoo. It's not like, it's actually being present to imagine if every one of your possessions disappeared right now. If you actually were starving, if you had no food, no shelter, we live better than frigging kings did, Quinton.
Yeah.
And yet we bitch and complain. It's crazy. We've got hot water. For some of us, we've got an everlasting hot water systems. We've got heating and cooling and
fresh running water. I mean, we've got the essence of life coming out of our taps, which is fresh.
We can have showers every day.
Yeah.
Or twice, 3-4 times a day. We're not washing ourselves out of buckets. We've got fridges, we've got washing machines, we've got dishwashers, we've got, all sorts of stuff at our disposal. And this is the way normal man lives. Granted, yes, of course, I'm not referring to third world countries here. I'm just referring to normal, the normal sort of the middle class.
First world, yeah.
Yeah. And so looking at all of this, it's like, the actual vibration, that's my dog saying hello, everybody.
She agrees as well.
She agrees. She's like, the vibration of my little puppy, she's so tough. The vibration of do not walk past Gabby's house or I will bark at you. Just one sec. Give me a dog. There we go. Anyway, so the vibration of, the getting yourself into the right radio station of the stuff that you want, it actually does sit in the realm of appreciation and gratitude for the current cool shit you have. So Quinton and I was sort of saying that, some people have this message out there of fake it till you make it. We're not telling you BS. Like, we're not telling you that if business is bad, go around telling everyone, oh, it's fantastic, it's wonderful, but secretly inside you're dying.
Yeah, well, you're just kidding yourself because you're still tuning in with that old frequency. So at the end of the day, it is where you are tuning in from. You can tell that the song is different, but if you're listening to the song that you don't want to listen to, that you're tuning into, then yeah, you're just fooling yourself in that sense.
110%. The truth of the matter there is if your state, if your true belief, if your emotions aren't in a state of appreciation, excitement, passion, if you're actually in fear, worry, doom and gloom, putting a smile on your face and pretending like everything's okay, no different to listening to it's no different to having AC/DC playing while you sing the ballad of a love song.
That is awesomely said. Love it.
It's putting icing on a mud pie, so to speak. And so ultimately it's this, guys. It's You know, it's when it comes to money, appreciate the fact that what you already have, it's coming in on no matter where you are in business, where your business is at. You could be in the early stages of growing your business, which, yeah, it's tough because quite frankly, you know, time and cash flow are an issue. Appreciate the fact that you had the balls to back yourself, that you're following your dreams, that you're doing stuff to, you know, make cool stuff happen. Appreciate the fact that you actually had the balls to launch the business in the first place. There's so many people out there that haven't. They're still sitting in the one day maybe I have a dream, you know, state.
Yeah.
You actually did launch it. You know, remember what it was like to first launch it, how exciting it was. You know, this is what I laugh at. It's funny. You know, in business, that very first thing of, you know, getting your domain name, registering your business, launching your business. Well, quite frankly, when you first launch it, it's nothing. It's got no money coming in. And yet there's an excitement. There's this, you know, there's this birth, this excitement. And yet, if we could harness that vibration and keep it going throughout the growing stage of business, you'd find that your business would actually grow a lot more effortlessly and it would flow. You'd attract the right information. You'd be inspired to continue the growth, the momentum. You'd stay in a state of excitement and flow versus friction and fear. You know, friction and fear, when you take action on those, create more problems. And so, with this, I really wanted to say that, you know, I say this to my clients all the time, that, you know, I could give you every marketing strategy out there, every sales script and sales strategy out there. If your vibration is shonky, you're not going to get the results. And I know that you won't. You know, it's funny, a few months ago, one of my clients calls me up and says, Gabs, I don't get it. You know, he goes, I actually took a month off to work on my business. I've done more physical friggin' labor on my business in the last month than I have in like 6 months. And I'm going backwards. You know, I don't understand why this is happening. And, you know, it was all doom and gloom type stuff. And my advice to him, honestly, was stop. Stop right now. And you're not allowed to work on your business at all for the next 2 weeks. For the next 2 weeks, I want you just to do stuff that makes you feel good. Go surfing. We made a list of all the stuff that just makes him feel good and takes him to a high vibration of appreciation. And literally he did. He took 2 weeks off and surfed every day and just did cool shit and got his vibration to a great peak state. Literally after that, the next week when he went back into his business, everything, like I'm talking 4x his business in a week. Mia.
Your puppy is cheering him on. It's like, good on you, dude. Like,
my apologies, guys. I will actually grab her now. Dog, no. There'll be none of that, thank you. I have to have words with my puppy. You're not vibrating at the frequency of this podcast. My apologies, guys. And this is the thing that, you know, that this is my whole point of when you take action from an epic vibration, whoa, cool stuff happens.
Yeah.
You know, when you take action from a shitty vibration, a shitty state, you get more shitty. You know, it's just how it works. Whatever frequency you're tuned into, the law of attraction will give you more of it. When you take massive action, it amplifies. It actually amplifies the attraction process. So guys, to be honest with you, if you're in a shit state, don't do anything. Sit there, don't move.
Yeah, no, it's so true. And it's little things that you can get back into such a state. And as you were saying, is thinking about when you launched that domain name or when you've actually started the business. I remember when I first got my very first set of business cards, Gabs. Like this goes back 5 years ago, and I was in Melbourne for training, and I actually had the designer send it to the hotel that I was staying at. And you know what? When they arrived, looking back at them now, it's like, dude, did you really make those cards? But I got them, and it was like, this is my cards. Like, boom, I've got something now of evidence of I've got a business, but it's just on a piece of cardboard.
It's exciting though. Like
it is so exciting. And just thinking about it now, it's like, dude, yeah, you got it, and that already amps me up. But it's what we've discussed in this show so often. It's the why. It's the starting with the why. That once you get in line with that, for me personally, that gets me amped up. That gets me into my state of vibrating at a different level straight away. That is me tuning my radio back into the frequency. And as you're saying, it's also doing things that you love. It is, think about it. If you are doing things that you love, all of a sudden the enthusiasm comes back for life, for for doing more of that. And if you then putting that energy together with your passion, with business, with health, with money, with relationships, magical things happen.
Yep, absolutely. And on the vice versa of that, when you're not in flow, when you're actually in friction and fear and doubt, crappy things happen. More and more shit just goes wrong. Haven't you noticed that? It's like, there's no green lights for you, no car spots, the queue at the post office is a mile long. Everything's just going wrong.
Yeah. It's just one of those days, as people put it. It's just one of those days.
Oh, having one of those days.
Having one of those days, I think, is the most perfect opportunity to start tuning into yourself, to ask yourself what is really happening. What are you sending out? Where are you vibrating at? When we just got back from Europe, we were driving around, and usually I'm pretty easy in Sydney to find a parking. Like, I'm very lucky with finding parking somewhere in the city along the side streets. When we just got back, it was crazy. We were driving around in the same block over and over and over, and I just couldn't find a parking. The second day, it's the same thing. Like, I just couldn't find a spot. And if I did see a spot, then all of a sudden someone else takes it, and I was just off. It was almost like I was
one of those days.
Yeah, it's one of those days. I was just 30 seconds off it. If I was 30 seconds earlier, then I would have had it. And it was basically how the rest of my days unpacked. When we just got back to Australia, I just wasn't in tune of things. I was trying to get into it, I just wasn't in tune. Now, it took a few days to get settled and to get into the flow of things again. And once you hit that moment of flow, magical things happen. It's incredible how my days have turned out since returning and being in that sense of flow.
And ultimately, guys, it's okay that, you're not going to be in flow 100% of the time, because certain things will happen to throw you out of flow. I'm not in any way, shape or form preaching that you should aim to be in flow 100% of the time, because, like I said, it could be a family member gets sick. It could be all sorts of crap could happen that could throw you out a little bit. The key is to have a strategy, a routine, a system in place to maintain flow in your business as much as possible, and notice, actually be present to what's going on in your thinking. How are you feeling right now, and work on that. Have that be the first go-to, not take action. So if you're having a slow month, the first go-to is, what else can I do? It's, okay, let's touch base and have a look at, what frequency am I tapped into right now? And what can I do to get myself into a great state? There's a few things you can do here. So to give you a couple of practical, actions, because you can take these types of actions. It's one, you can do a bit of a gratitude rant. So literally it's, if you're in a bit of a shit spot with business, or even just an average, nothing special spot, because we're not it doesn't have to be doom and gloom. It could just be there, blah. It could be a blast. Blah is also not the vibration that epic stuff happens from. And so what you can do ultimately is grab a piece of paper and, ask the question, I am wealthy because, and start answering that question. I'm wealthy because, look at all the cool stuff you have. Ultimately, for argument's sakes, you could be in a situation where you may have lost some clients, and now you're down to, depending on the nature of your business, you could be down to 5 clients where you had 20, 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, doom and gloom, you're in the void of the 15 instead of appreciating the 5. There was a time where you didn't have the 5. There was a time at the very beginning where, when you got your first client, you celebrated one client like it was a friggin' $1 million. It was like oh my God, my first client, it's so exciting. Now you got 5 of them and you're beating the drum over, or, everything's sucky. So when you're in this place, it's, get a piece of paper. I'm wealthy because I have 5 clients. There's 5 people that are actually, devoted to me, are coming in and getting stuff done. I'm so grateful for those 5. I'm grateful because, and you just start beating the drum of all the cool stuff you've already achieved in your business. Meaning, what I call this the reverse gap. So you can have a gap from where you are to where you want to go. Meaning that if you're currently at, $500,000 a year, and you want to get to 7 figures, the gap's $500,000,
Yeah.
That's the future gap. Or you can look at the reverse gap, which so many of us don't do in business. The reverse gap is how far you've already come. So in this piece of paper, I'm so wealthy because I have 5 clients. I've already finished my website, I've done my email funnel, I've done this, I've achieved this, I've got my business cards,
Yeah.
you know, I've already created X, Y, Z. You know, does that make sense? Like you actually go into the reverse gap of everything you've already achieved. I'm wealthy because I know what it feels like to have 20 clients. I've done it once, I can do it again. And you start beating the drum of a totally different story, focusing your attention somewhere else.
Yeah.
When you focus your attention to a different focus point, you'll find that your vibration starts to change. Then, as your vibration's changing, as you're starting to realize that the reality is not that bad, you know, you could even throw in some other stuff in there like, oh my God, I'm wealthy because I'm not bankrupt.
Yeah.
I'm wealthy because I'm actually in a business following my dream instead of working for the man. I'm wealthy because, you know, I've got the mind to do this. It's not like I just had a brain injury occur and I can't do anything. I'm capable. I'm wealthy because I'm capable of continuing down this road. I didn't just lose my sight or my legs. You know, I'm grateful because I've got everything at my disposal to make this cool stuff happen. Once you change the state and you change the story around it, then you want to go into visualizing where you want to go. You know, seeing the reality as you want it to be. So as opposed to, you know, I guess what I'm trying to say is don't buy into the drama of the current reality.
Well said.
Instead, create what you desire. You know, you are the creator of your world and you're always creating. You know, you're either creating more of what is or something completely different. And so this is where, you know, step 2 is actually going into a creation phase of, you know, the next question after I'm wealthy because is what do I desire? You know, what would it look like if I had the time, the money, the fulfillment that I've always desired from business? And just go into a childlike, dreamlike state where, you know, you let yourself play in that virtual world. And imagine it, feel it, hear it, see yourself getting up, having energy, clients coming to you, laughing, referrals coming in, you know, money in the bank, you having the time on the weekends to do epic things and, you know, driving your boat and flying to Europe and doing whatever it is that you know, that you desire to do as a lifestyle for yourself. See yourself, feel yourself, you know, being happy, fulfilled, like, oh, I'm so, you know, proud of myself for making this happen. And when you do this, when you actually focus on the current gratitude, where you tap into your current reality and look for the things that to be grateful for, and you tap into the virtual plane of where you're going, this actually sets you up in a beautiful momentum, a beautiful vibration where the law of attraction brings you more of what you are, more of the appreciation, and takes you to your vision. You know, and when you take action in this place,
you
really
amplify.
Cool. Yeah. You amplify the whole thing. Cool shit happens. You literally find yourself, you know, just think of it like this though too. You know, when we're in a good state, when we're in an awesome, happy, positive state, who we are, who we show up as in the world is so different to when we're all, you know, like I think of Eeyore from Pooh Bear.
Yeah. Winnie the Pooh.
You can either be Winnie the Pooh or you can be Eeyore. It's up to you. Or Piglet. You know, Piglet's a cool little funny, happy character.
Yeah.
Like when you meet people, you know, Quinton, when you meet people when you're out and about and you meet someone who's in flow, you know, just pumped, charged, happy, you know, just, you know, great state where they're actually adding value, they're happy. It's coming from a place of I attract everything because I need nothing.
And it is so infectious. If you're coming from that state of bringing energy or someone has that energy, it's infectious. It lifts people up in the room.
Yep, and it's addictive. People want to be around that. That's what magnifies people to your business. People want to hang out with you because you get them out of the funk, you know. And this is the thing. So, you know, when you're in that state and you're out in public, of course you're going to attract opportunity because you're in the vibration to even, you know, to have someone like the vibration, the frequency of opportunity is a high vibration. It's not a low vibration. So when you're vibrating at a high vibration, opportunities, like it's the same radio station. You know, you're tapping into the same plane of existence, which means that people want to spend time with you. People want to refer people to you. You know, you glow, so to speak. Yeah. When you're not, people don't. You know, plus haven't you noticed that when you're in an awesome state and someone says to you, hey, what do? You speak about it with passion.
Yeah.
When you're in a shit state, hungovered and feeling worse for wear, and someone says, "What do you do?" Oh, like you avoid it. To be honest with you, you actually avoid the conversation.
Yeah, you don't want to talk about it, and that just brings everything else down. Like if you're talking down about your business or your current thing just because your state isn't optimal or isn't where it should be, then you're doing harm to yourself and the other areas of your life.
Yep. So this is where, it's all about strategy and it's all about routines to me. If you don't brush your teeth every day, Quinton, what happens?
You get tooth decays and tartar build-up and smelly breath and...
People don't want to kiss you, do they? Like, really?
No.
So this is where, if you had a daily practice of actually daily tapping into the stuff that you're, grateful for and visualizing your desired business, what you'd find is you're brushing the teeth of creating more business success. Meaning that if every single day you consciously create, you don't go on autopilot and just, create automatically, you consciously create, you will find cool things happen. And this is the thing, that it's maintaining the strategy though. So if you're the kind of person that's heard this before and you're like, yeah, I've done gratitudes before, they were really cool. Oh, I should go back to doing that again.
Yeah.
Then this is your reminder, that, dude, if you don't brush your teeth every day, they won't look pretty. If you don't do your gratitudes every day, you won't feel grateful. You'll focus in on what is or something else. You'll buy into the drama. You can either buy into the drama or be the creator.
What, Gabs? It really comes to mind that, yes, I've done the gratitude, as you're saying. I've done the gratitude in the past, and then I've stopped, and then I've decided to pick it up again, and then it's stopped. And you know what? It fascinates me, and I'm trying to think about it now as to why do we do that? Why do we go with something that's epic, that's working, and we're like, yeah, this is cool, and then all of a sudden we find ourselves back in a position where it's like, oh, this is not so cool, and it's this constant cycle. Like, have you ever found where you get into a place where you're like, cool, I'm going to maintain this, and yeah, like that's just on my mind right now.
Honestly, awesome question, and this is my answer. Tell me what you think. So for me, it's two things. One, usually when people take on this strategy, it's because they're in pain and they want to get out of the pain.
Yeah.
So what they do is they use the strategy, and then when they feel better, they're no longer in pain, and so they dump the strategy, and that's why they're on the, it's like, does that make sense? They're reactive. They're not proactive. They're reactive. So it'd be like, not brushing your teeth until you get tooth decay and you lose two of them. You go to the dentist, and then all of a sudden you're flossing, you're brushing, you're doing everything right.
Yeah.
Then your teeth get better and you stop brushing your teeth until another tooth falls out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So one, it's understanding that this is a habit that you need to create. Now it takes time to ingrain a habit. So when we start something, when we start a new habit, new neural pathways are being created in our little noggin. But they're babies. So when you start a new habit, it's like planting a little tree, yeah?
Yeah.
Now that little tree hasn't grown into a full-size monster oak yet, which means it needs love, it needs water, it needs sunshine. Now what a lot of people do is they'll plant the little tree, and instead of honouring that as their project for a period of time until it is an absolute habit, until it's just like, daily brushing your teeth, what they do instead is they take on more strategies. So they'll go out there and they'll learn another strategy, and then they'll implement that. And that's a little tree. And then they'll take another one. Then before you know it, they've got 10 little trees. And at any given time, the human being can't actually handle more than 7, give or take 2 trees at a time.
Yeah.
So this is what happens to us, that we're treed out. We can't take care of all these little trees. And so what we do is we dump a few, we dump the ones that, that we can in that moment. And we focus in on the ones, and to be honest with you, we end up mastering none of it. Then we become that person that goes, oh yeah, I've heard that before. Yeah, I know this. Yeah, it doesn't work. Bullshit, it doesn't work. You never let the tree grow. You didn't maintain it long enough. Oh yeah, I brushed my teeth once, didn't help. They still fell out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is my take. It's one, you're taking on too many new strategies for the day, that you're just taking on too many and you can't do them all, that you get chunked, so to speak. 2, you're dumping the strategy because you feel good now and you've got a reactive nature. So this is where, value the fact that this is super important and it works. It's one of the greatest things you can do. You know what? There's a guy called T. Harv Eker,
Yep.
who some of you listening would probably have heard of. He's pretty big. He actually interviewed a hell of a lot of millionaires and billionaires trying to work out what the difference was between them. Like what differentiates a millionaire or a billionaire. And you know what? After interviewing so many of them, he's sitting there going, shit, there's just no similarities. They're all so vast, I can't work out how you can model them specifically. He goes, there's billionaires with 2 kids, there's millionaires with 2 kids, there's singles, there's, in both camps, he found the same stuff going on. Women, men, fat, short, whatever it is, until he found the one thing. There was one thing that made the difference. The millionaires tend to focus on their goals, their vision for where they were taking their business, a good 3 to 6 times a day.
Yeah.
The billionaires focused in on where they were going and their vision and what they were creating 7+ times per day.
Wow.
The difference was the billionaires actually spent more time in their virtual world, seeing where they're going.
They spend more time tuning their radio back into the right frequency.
Exactly. And that's what had them attract more.
So the question then becomes, for our audience, is how often a day are you actually tuning yourself in?
Exactly.
Like per day. If the difference is between millionaires and billionaires, as T. Harv Eker has researched, about four times difference, from 4 to 7 times a day, where are you currently at? Like, where's our audience at?
And this is the thing, right? So as you listen to this, when you're in this, if you've got a strategy where when you wake up in the morning, you focus on on what you're grateful for, and you visualize the way you're going. You actually spend time in in your mind's eye, like a child, creating a little virtual world. During the day, you tap into it. You could, utilize the fact that you've got to go to the toilet. Sit on the toilet, have that be your creating time. And at night, when you go to sleep, you have that too. What you'll find is you're actually vibrating at a frequency where you start to think about where you're going all the time throughout the day. You can't help it, because once you vibrate at the frequency, you're constantly thinking about it. You're getting more ideas about it. You're in the flow of, oh, this would be cool, this would be cool. Oh, you're in that flow, which means you're actually spending a shitload of time, a hell of a lot of times every single day, focusing on where you're going. Now, why do I share this? Because knowing this tells you that the strategy itself is maintain that state. Focus on where you're going, with excitement, with passion, with drive, with determination, and you will get there. However, if you're not willing to build the muscle around this, if you're not willing to prioritize this, if you're going to go, I'm just going to give it a crack, then 2 weeks later find something else to focus on and do that instead, you're not going to achieve the results that these people, these millionaires and billionaires, have achieved. You've actually got to master the strategy and maintain it. So what do we do? Well, you know what? Be clever. You've got a phone. Set an alarm in your phone to go off 3 times a day that says gratitude and vision. And it goes off. You spend 3 minutes doing the do. Yeah. Sitting there and just, writing out what you're grateful for, envisioning the business as you want it. Because originally what happens when you start running this strategy is, honestly, the gratitude feels a little bit weak. It's like with every day you do it, the gratitude grows and grows and grows and grows, because you're adding to, you're climbing the vibrational scale, so to speak. However, it's the momentum and the consistency that gets you to that, real true feeling of gratitude. Once you're in gratitude, it's so easy to maintain. Honestly, so easy to maintain. And so if you were to set up a reminder on your phone to go off 3 times a day, and go off until it's mastered. Have it running for a couple of months so you really ingrain the strategy. When you learn a new strategy, ask yourself, have I got time to maintain another tree, so to speak, or let's put this next strategy into the later basket once I've got this mastered. Then we can master another strategy, as opposed to being a jack of all trades, you become a master of the different strategies. Does that make sense? 2, write little post-it notes on your fridge, on your mirror that say, this is important. If I do this, then I'm going to have epic. If I don't do this, I'm going to feel pain. Remind yourself every single day while you're building the muscle of why it's important to do this. Get set, focusing on why it's important for me to vibrate at a frequency that I attract more cool shit. And to be honest with you guys, it's pretty simple. When you vibrate in flow, you get more flow. It's freaking worth it because it feels good to feel good. You know, there's nothing worse than trying to bury yourself out of a big hole. So this is the truth of the matter, that once you're actually vibrating in flow, you tap into gratitude so quickly. It's so quick to be able to, like, it's a 30-second ritual in the morning. It's so quick.
Yeah.
You know, however, if you're listening to this and you're actually, you know, you're listening to this going, God, dude, I'm in a hole. Like, I'm in fear and doubt and, you know, I'm like panicked. It's really hard to go from fear to gratitude. Like, I'm talking, it's a bipolar request I'm asking you to take.
Yeah.
So instead for you, if you're actually really quite low vibrationally, then instead I tell you to meditate for a little bit. Meditate first, calm yourself. You know, go spend some time in nature. Get yourself into a better state first.
Take some
then,
deep breaths, yeah.
Yep, deep breaths, meditate, go spend some time in nature. Then, you know, then do your gratitude rant and then start the momentum. Literally go on YouTube and type in meditation. There's actually a really cool one by Abraham Hicks, and it's called the Money Meditation. It's a 15-minute guided meditation. Listen to that a couple of times, and it will get you out of that funky state and into a state where you're actually able to start looking at the stuff you're grateful for. Then once you're there, maintain the gratitudes every day, visualize the future as you want it to be every day. Post it all over your house if you need to remind yourself to do it. Set alarms, make it a priority. Create this as a permanent fixture, you know, in your daily routines, like brushing your teeth, like having a shower, and you'll be amazed at the impact this has.
Yeah, yeah. You know what, it actually brings up from another group that I'm in, someone put up their voice message that they've set as an alarm to get themselves up in the morning. And it's just a simple message of him talking to himself about why you're doing this, why you should be getting up, why you should get your day started, and why you should do that right now. And it's him reaffirming to himself as an alarm to get started, to get him in his state. I just thought of that strategy as you're going on about this.
Yeah, it's whatever, you know, and this is all of it kind of, you know, sits around the same place.
Yeah.
When you ask yourself why, you know, why is this important? And connect to your own answer for why. It's the most delicious thing that's going to drive you. Your why will drive you more than anybody else's. And so, you know, upon that, it's, you know, why would you do this, Quinton? You know, why would you do this?
Oh, why would I do this? I would do this because I've got my mission as to why I've started this business, why I do what I do on a daily basis is to inspire and empower people. So I know that I get in a more inspiring and empowering state when I tap into this, and therefore I can affect more people. I'm in a better state when I'm speaking to people on the street, whether it's Jordan down the road at the cafe or it is Sue up the road. I get into a better state. I start my day better when I am focusing and tuning into it. That's why I would do it, and it's reflective in the results that I'm getting, not just in business but in other areas. It is you're feeling more inspired, more empowered to go and focus on your health, focus on your relationships, and focus on money. It's incredible.
Yep. Bingo. Bingo. I don't know why I said bingo.
Hit the nail on the head.
That's it. And honestly, it's just that. Like, to me, my mantra is there is nothing more important than that I feel good. Because when I feel good, I attract more good.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's just that. No matter what happens in my world, that drives me. It's this knowing that vibration attracts. You will not see me in a shit state for a very long time. And no matter what happens, I work my little butt off, you know, to focus in on the cool stuff and up my vibration as quickly as possible. Because to me, there's nothing more important than that I feel good, because when I feel good, I get to realize my mission and get to make the difference on the planet that I want to make. I can't imagine my life without that. The thought of not being able to do what I do for my mission, sharing this cool stuff with you guys, running my events with my peeps, I'm so grateful and blessed. I get to do what I love. I get to work in my genius. I get to, you know, share my gift with the world, that my people deserve me at my best. You know, for me, it's an even greater thing of there's nothing more important than that I feel good because I'm a leader and there's people that rely on me to be this way.
Yep.
I've got a responsibility to manage my state, to be the best me I can be, so I can actually help others become their best states. So I can live my why, which is all about driving the evolution of humanity and having people evolve to a state where manifesting all their cool stuff is normal. I really do want to get to a place that by the time I'm super old and super grey, but I won't be grey because I'll probably dye my hair. When I'm super old and kind of like at my point of, I think I want to leave Earth now, I'd love to be able to be running seminars on demanifestation, meaning that teaching people how to undo all their manifestations because they've gotten to a place where they're just manifesting all the cool stuff they want so quickly because they've nailed this way of living that now they're all like, Gabby, I've got 5 boats and 8 cars and oh my God. I need to demanifest. That's my vision. I want to get to a point where, I'm running events on how to slow down the manifestation. And that's what drives me. So it's, guys, work out what drives you. Yeah. What drives you? Why is it worth it for you to do this? And then set yourself up for success. For some of you, it could even be getting a buddy, and having an accountability buddy and go, you know what, buddy, you and I, we're going to rock this out. We're going to do gratitudes and visualizations. We're going to tap into awesome, epic vibration, and we're going to master this and have this be a part of our life, and we're going to support each other. For some of you, it could be, posting up post-its all over your house or putting an alarm in your phone to remind you, and writing out a detailed little letter to yourself of why this is important. Even right now, when we finish, write a letter and say, dear, insert your name. I'm going to commit to mastering vibration so I can epically grow my business in flow, and it's important to me because yada, 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 yada. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to commit to doing gratitudes and visualizations 3 times a day for the next 60 days so it becomes a muscle.
Yeah.
And when I do this, this is the epic stuff that will happen. If I don't do this, this is all the crappy stuff that will happen. And read that letter. Have it somewhere where it reminds you of why you made the decision to master this in the first place.
And reading that letter, you also need to commit to that as well. It's like a muscle training. Yes, you can commit to a training program that you're going to be following, but actually following that is the actual muscle that you're building up.
Yep.
It's the consistency in that. So go for it, guys. It has been...
Go for it. And get into the Marketing with Vino Club and tell us how you go. I'd love to hear how using this strategy actually impacts your business in the next couple of weeks. Because when I share these with my clients, the cool shit that happens is epic. I'm talking epic. One of my very brand new clients right now has literally gone from bust to massive success in the matter of, like, I'm talking, before she started with me, she had 3 leads all year. She's a coach.
Wow. Yeah.
3 leads all year. Literally as soon as she joined my program, we had chats about this stuff. She got 3 leads in less than a week. Signed some decent clients. I think she signed 2 out of 3. So we're talking the same amount of leads.
That is a huge difference for her if that was her
massive.
Wow.
By the way, no change, no actual physical anything changed. It's just vibrationally she shifted and this stuff happened, and she attracted a joint venture partner who has a massive list within her particular niche. She's about to do a webinar, a guest spot on a webinar where she can sell her services, and there's going to be at least 500 people on this call. Nothing's changed, guys, nothing. She hasn't done anything. She hasn't posted up her Facebook ad. She hasn't tweaked her website yet. She hasn't done any of the do yet. All she did was change her vibration, and everything's changed. And we're talking in the matter of a couple of weeks, an absolute quantum shift has occurred. This is what's possible when you get how powerful this stuff is.
You know what? I also think that it's resulted to us doing Marketing with Vino. From us being at a certain level where we started thinking about bigger things and vibrating at a different level, that has attracted for our listeners now to listen to Marketing with Vino.
Yeah, definitely. Guys, the reason why you listen to us is because we're actually vibrating at a pure frequency of wanting to give you value. We're not doing this because we have to, or it's such a pure thought. Like the the who we are on this, the vibration we have with this, we still haven't advertised Marketing with Vino. It's still 100% organic reach, meaning that we haven't done anything to really promote this like you normally would. And we're attracting people all over the globe, and it's because of our vibration. You know, not everyone gets to launch a podcast and have it go number one within a few days through organic reach. And I'm totally aware of that, and we're so grateful. And it is the vibration. It's the fact that we launched this in passion and love. We maintain this in passion and love. And everything we do about this podcast is to actually make an impact. We did this so we could fulfill our mission on a greater scale, meaning that we knew we could actually impact more people with our marketing than we could with our service. That we could fulfill our visions with our marketing, you know, more than we could ever do with our service. And that's what drives us, and that's what actually has you want to hang out with us, because you sense the authenticity. You know that we're not just trying to, what's the word? We're not trying to manipulate you in any way, shape, or form.
It's not a bait and switch. It's not we're trying to con you into something. This is purely us having an amazing time together, and for you to be part of it.
Yep.
And we are so excited to be able to do this each and every week. And being in Europe, it has been a bit of a time difference, so we haven't been able to do it each and every week. And getting back into rhythm now, I can't wait for what we are going to be talking about in future episodes.
Yeah.
Because this has gone from a commitment where we said, okay, we'll do this once a month.
Yeah, that's right.
And then it's gone to, okay, let's do this fortnightly, because we're getting into it. It's the momentum that's kicking in. And then it's gone from, you know what, let's just do it weekly. So we're committing to weekly from that. And to take that from you with your exercise, with going into and checking into with your vibration, don't take on too much that you can't commit to. If you are a high-end executive and you know that you have so many things going on throughout the day that are extremely high of importance, you can't commit to checking in 5 or 6 times a day. You can commit to a number that is comfortable for you, and the same goes for someone that is at a less of such a level. But even if you're just a regular hairdresser, in between clients, if you're booked on a Tuesday, fully booked, maybe you can't do it 3 or 4 times. Maybe it's just to start with something and then scale it up. Once you get
Honestly,
into
it could
rhythm,
just be a morning thing. Like, it could just be that, you know what, I'm going to choose to do gratitudes and visualizations in the morning, or I'm going to choose to do it at night just before I go to sleep.
Yeah.
Whatever you choose. Just choose one. We're talking, it's a 3 to 5 minute exercise max. When you're starting out. Understand this though, that once this becomes a habit, it doesn't take up any of your brain juice anymore. So this is the thing, whenever we're implementing anything new, it actually takes up a fair bit of brain juice. Like I said before, this is why we can only really ever deal with a few new baby trees at once, because they're a baby tree, they're new. Remember what it was like to first learn how to drive a car. Like, I don't know about you, but oh my God, it took a lot of my thinking. Like the mirrors and the seatbelt and oh God, I was sweating, and the gears and the scraping of the transmission. Anyway, now I drive around, I don't think about it, meaning it's like, I hop in the car, I'm driving, and it takes up the minusculous amount of my consciousness, to drive, because I know how to do it. Same with this. Once you get the muscle on this going, you'll find yourself tapping into this many times a day, and it won't take any juice at all to maintain it. It's like anything at the beginning though, everything new, takes a bit more focus. So my massivest, Quinton said it perfectly. Don't overcommit to this and get yourself into a place where you can't maintain. So, for example, if it's like when people, someone hasn't been to the gym in 6 months, and goes, I'm going to go to the gym. That's it. New Year's resolution. I'm going to the gym every day, from nothing to 7 days a week. How long can that person really maintain that?
Well, they're going to be sore after the first day if they do it properly, so they can't train for the few days, and they're like, oh, I hate the gym now because I'm in pain.
There's that. Yeah. The other thing too is whenever you're incorporating a new thing, don't go that extreme.
Yes, exactly.
Just like, if you're going from 0 times to the gym, go 1 to 2 times a week. Start off with once a week for a couple of weeks, then do 2. Smooth it in, set yourself up to win. Nothing that we ever tell you or advise you to do should be hard. It should be effortless. It should be like, swimming downstream in a canoe versus trying to paddle upstream Set yourself up to win with everything, and you'll find that it's so much easier. There's this bullshit common misconception that things should be hard. They don't. They really don't. When it comes to the growth of your business, it really doesn't need to be hard. And yes, of course, it's tough. For a lot of people, they'll tell you growing a business is friggin' tough. And to be honest with you, it depends on your vantage point. It depends on your state. It depends on your vibration. You're either looking for the tough or you're looking for the awesome to celebrate. And upon that note, Quinton, I'd like to say thank you for hanging out with me. It's been an epic chat, as always. And guys, please let us know how you go with this. Love to hear from you. Love to hear your wins. Get the vibration happening, then take action and watch how magic occurs.
Check out Marketing with Vino Club, marketingwithvino.com. Join us and please share your wins. Share your wins. Continue the conversation because we would love to hear from you. Gabby, you know what I love about this show is that we haven't actually ever agreed upon a set time to finish. Like our listeners have been with us now for 60 minutes, and that is 60 minutes of gold coming from you, and being able to manifest that, it's incredible. So thank you so much for spending an hour with us, and especially our listeners for spending an hour with us.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys, for hanging out. Just absolutely love hanging out with you. Join the Marketing with Vino Club. I'd love to get to know you in person. Absolutely love to, hear from you what specific topics you'd like us to chat about, anything at all that you'd like to share. Love to hear back from you.
Awesome. See you guys. Until next time.
Bye.
You've been listening to Marketing with Vino. If you enjoyed this episode and want to access the resources discussed in this episode, go to marketingwithvino.com and select which episode you've listened to.